1, 2, 3, 4. That's almost a whole hand. We got 4 straight wins. We'll talk about it here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. The CHGO White Sox post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. A 4-game win streak for your Chicago White Sox, that's definitely not ordinary. I didn't really mesh that well. It's never ordinary. A 4-game win for your White Sox, that's never ordinary.
It's extraordinary.
No, extraordinary would be run-of-the-mill, no?
Well, extraordinary.
Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO.
We don't know what to do with the win streak.
Our job is baseball, not big words. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. My cracked producer is Joey Christopoulos.
We going streaking.
Streaking. We got John in the chat saying, Sox, W in. I guess he more meant 4 W's because it's 4 in a row win. Sox win. They dominate the Tampa Bay Rays 8-3. We will be talking about it today. I got several different angles that we can come about this. We're going to talk about Sean Burke's start. Good, not great, leaned more on but we'll talk about it. We will talk about Colson Montgomery playing third base for the 4th time in 5 games. And then we'll talk about Chase Meidroth, who had his first 4-hit game in his career, but before that, the last 32 games for Chase have been pretty rough. But tonight's a really good sign on not only how he can bounce back, but how I think that he will bounce back, right? We saw the blueprint, I think, tonight for a Chase Meidroth bounce back. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I haven't mentioned the guys in the headline, so let's get into them. This game started off fairly nicely for the Chicago White Sox. I guess it was a little sweaty because it was 105 or felt like 105 in Tampa tonight. It was 88 degrees, but with the humidity, 105. Sean Burke was sweating. Dan Altavilla was sweating. Brandon Eisert was sweating. Everybody was sweating down in Tampa. It was an iffy first inning. You had a 2-out single by Jonathan Aranda that was more of a bloop than anything. Got over Meidroth in front of, I guess, Talkman. And then Caminero reached on an infield single that bounced off Burke, and then he tried to throw it to Vargas. It was somewhat, Vargas and Burke tried to argue that, not Aranda, but Caminero was in the line. So that was why the throw was off. It allowed Aranda to go second to third. So you had runners on first and third with 2 out. Thankfully, Josh Lowe lined out on what was likely the hardest hit ball of the inning, but it was thankfully right at Brooks Baldwin, who was playing left field. There we go. Finally came to me. But then, top of the second inning came to me because Brooks Baldwin made some magic happen. Teal led off with a single. Robert Jr. then flied out. Montgomery hit a single to center. He went 1 for 4 tonight, 1 for 3 tonight. He legged out a what would have been double play, but he made it a fielder's choice. So nice job there by Colson. But with first and second, 2 outs, Brooks Baldwin versus Shane Baz, who has been fantastic in his last couple starts, 27 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. I think 4 straight quality starts. That one's from Melissa Sage Bolenbach, a diehard. Brooks Baldwin takes him deep on what was a fairly nice pitch. If you look at the actual pitch, it's likely a ball, but right on that inside edge. And it is a unicorn homer. That term is used when StatCast says it would only get out in 1 of 30 parks. That one I find a little bit iffy because the Rays Stadium is an exact replica of the Yankees Stadium. I don't know if it's exactly the exact, but I think it would be. home run.
It was a laser.
At
I
Yankee
mean, I guess
Stadium.
it's the lower trajectory of the fence, but that was a laser, dude.
And that's the thing, too, is if that ball is a little bit more out, right? If that one's a little bit more in the strike zone and less like inside on him, that one's crushed. So the fact that he still even got that one out, like that's a really nice pitch to hit a home run off. An up and in fastball and like truly like an edge pitch, that's a great home run from Brooks Baldwin. All of them are great. They all count the same, but still a really impressive pitch that he hit out. We do love the super chat from our guy, the Shirtless Wonder, Kevin. Thank you to him. We just had a nice chat.
Guy taking the shirts off for the winning streak
at the store, which was my undershirt yesterday. I had the PV jersey over, but I had the store undershirt, and then I was able to rock the pocket shirt. When I got home and took off the jersey. So shout out to Kevin. Appreciate the super chat. He's got a TV out on the deck. I would love to have a deck one day. And it'd be great to put a TV out there.
I mean, I'd love to have any property where I could put a TV in. Because surrounded by neighbors still to this day.
We make fun of Michael Scott for, you can just put the TV into the wall, but
and I just stare at it because it's my TV. I love my TV.
He owns that property. But anyways, a nice second inning for the White Sox, a Baldwin home run. And then in the top of the third, the White Sox load the bases. Meidroth singled, Benny walked, Vargas walked, and then Luis Robert Jr. with a awesome single. It was a low liner that Morel could have caught, but he was unable to actually make the catch. Should have been a hit regardless. Like off the bat, I thought it was going to be a hit. Morel made a fairly athletic play to even get to the ball, but it does land for a single. Sox increased their lead to 5-0. Montgomery then grounded into an RBI fielder's choice. That was the real reason why it was so important that he beat out that double play. Makes it a fielder's choice. Vargas scores 6-0 after 3, and that was really, comfortable enough for the Sox. They were able to add on 2 more with a Vargas homer in the 5th, one that squeaked out as well, but a really nice home run that he pulled right down the right field line. It bordered on an outside pitch, but it was really middle. It's nice to see him, though, get back to, damaging those pitches. I think what we saw post-deadline 2024 to that swing change on April 22nd, you saw the worst of Miguel Vargas. And then from the 23rd until like the middle of June, we saw post-swing change, Miguel Vargas is the next Miguel Cabrera. Probably before the All-Star break, or the middle of the June to then before the All-Star break, he started to cool off. But even when you look at that cool off, he was still doing everything right. I just don't think he was being rewarded the same exact way. Balls that were typically home runs for him were landing in the warning track. So it's nice to just see him finally, see a couple go through the hoop. He's got 2 homers post All-Star break. I do think that he is a worthwhile project. And again, seeing him homer, seeing Colson hit a single, seeing Colson hit the RBI fielder's choice, seeing Meidroth have a 4-hit game, it still makes me wonder and question, why is Lenyn Sosa here? I would feel a lot better if Lenyn Sosa was not playing second base, if it was Chase Meidroth there, and if Colson Montgomery was playing shortstop, because Colson's been a little bit iffy with the bat. You know what takes off pressure of his bat? Playing shortstop. If you could play an average shortstop, that's much more valuable than playing an average third base. And average third basemen are expected to hit 25 homers. Shortstops aren't really expected to have that type of power output. So maybe even Colson could kind of shore up his swing and maybe just focus on contact more if he's playing shortstop. But when you have a guy that is a top prospect now playing third base 4 out of his last 5 games, I think it's going to at least throw off his rhythm. I don't think that Chase moving from second base to shortstop is much of a rhythm, just because he's a middle infielder and it's just flipping the order of operations, right? If you have a left-handed pitcher up, you're going to cover I don't know. I never played. I'm a lefty, so I've never played middle infield. But whatever, it's flipped, right, for second baseman and shortstop. But it's similar positions. There you need to make more when you're a shortstop. You probably need to make more throws. A
lot of it is depth and range, really, like in that pocket in between third and outfield, and then how you play, how the depth that you have in between that spot in center field.
And usually when you're at shortstop playing a ball up the middle, you're then going away from first base. You're running into right field while you're trying to then shift your body to throw to first base, where at second base you're going to left field, but you're kind of getting more squared up with the first baseman, right? So, I mean, like, it's a little bit of a different throw. But anyways, regardless.
Defensing, hitting
Chase
shade.
should be a second baseman because of his arm.
Shortstop, you shaded off. You're seeing shortstop shaded more towards over the top of that second base bag. Also being able to make that throw in the hole going back, obviously, then to your right is where the arm strength and the athleticism comes in.
And I think Vargas is, like, worthwhile to see at third base. There isn't really, like, a true third baseman that's pushing him out besides the guy that's currently playing shortstop. Brian Ramos is interesting, but there's not enough outfielders, I think, to, not explore Brian Ramos as a left fielder. So I don't know. I am very, very excited, obviously, about the 8-3 win. I'm very, very excited about the first 4 games post All-Star break, them scoring 35 runs. You just wonder, though, like, is this best for the growth? 4 wins, I guess, is nothing to complain about. So I think it's probably a moot point. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We'll talk about Sean Burke in just a second here. We do have time. Sean Burke labored a bit in that 105-degree weather. Only 4 innings tonight from Burke, 89 pitches, but 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 runs allowed, but no earned runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. He was very good. Let's get to what you were just popped up on the screen really quick, Joey. This is a graphic for all the audio listeners. And what I'm trying to show you is his pitch plot movement. The red line is 0-0 in a way. Is no horizontal movement in like towards the glove side or towards the arm side. That is, if you remember back in Daisuke Matsuzaka era, that would be referred to as either a gyro slider, and now what Jordan Montgomery kind of showed in 2023, a curveball that way would be relied on as a death ball. So Sean Burke throwing these slider and curveballs, these breaking balls, at this kind of neutral 0 point is a very interesting, because what it makes him or allows him to do is be platoon neutral. He isn't better or worse against lefties or righties because he is able to throw everything versus a righty versus a lefty. His slider should work, theoretically, hypothetically, against lefties and righties. His curveball should work against lefties and righties. And he was able to control the hammer today through 26 curveballs. He had 9 called strikes on the curveball and 3 whiffs. 12 called strike plus whiff on the curveball alone. That's a 46% called strike plus whiff percentage. So he threw 26 curveballs, 12 called strikes plus whiff. So like nearly half of those pitches were either strikes or just complete whiffs. And then when they were put in play, a 92.5 average exit velocity. It's only 3 balls though. One was a true hard hit. The other one's below a hard hit level. So I really think that's a true weapon for him. And the fact that his slider was his best pitch at the end of 2024. And then when you look at that pitch plot again, just real quick, Joey, what I want you to look at is just how tight of a circle that is on his 4-seam fastball. You kind of see the looseness in that slider, and you see kind of more of a tighter shape in that curveball outside of those 2 extraneous ones. Those 4-seam fastball shapes are very, very consistent. And when you can just lock in your shapes, just kind of opens up everything for you. So I'm really, really intrigued by Sean Burke. I do think that Noah Schultz still has the highest potential in the system because of his frame, but it's not Shane Smith. It's not Hagen Smith. It is not Tanner McDougal. It's not Davis Martin. The second highest ceiling in this organization pitching-wise is Sean Burke.
I agree, and that's the reason why they named him the opening day starter. I mean, you consistently see the stuff. My thing with you is that you can see it in the sequence in at bats. It's just the repeatable delivery. And I think that's something that Shane Smith kind of deals with at times too as well, where pitch shape is good, stuff is good, velocity is great on the 4-seam. The hammer curveball today for Sean Burke was working. But again, these are young pitchers that need to learn how to do repeatable delivery mechanics and get them clean and consistent. We're seeing that process right now. If these guys can figure it out, these aren't the only White Sox pitchers that have dealt with this, by the way. We saw it with Dylan Cease. We saw it with John Garland for years and years. But when it clicks and when it works out, that's when they get to that next level. So it's intriguing and fun to watch that development. But, I mean, yeah, there's Those 4 walks, I mean, it says all you really need to know, that the stuff was really good tonight. It's a harnessing, it's a repeat, it's a development, and it's that getting that mechanics down.
Cease is still even dealing with it, too.
Yeah, this year especially.
Real quick, I wrote this up before the game. We have enough time. No, we're at 15.
Yeah, take it on the other side of the break.
All right, we'll take it on the other side of the break. We have some history as well to let you know about. The White Sox have completed history. We'll have to find the hawk drop for that one, but we have to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show, presented to you by Bet365. We want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365 who are live in Illinois. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. New customers, go sign up with code CHGO365. When you bet $5 with our friends over at Bet365, you get $150 in bonus bets. Win or lose, bonus bets can be used on spreads, total, props, futures, whatever you feel like. So if you got a hunch on who's going to win the Super Bowl, or maybe you don't have a hunch and you just want to place 15 $10 bets, you can go do that. Maybe, pick 15 of the 32 NFL teams to win the Super Bowl. If you're also an MLB bettor, if your team takes a 5-run lead, you get an instant payout on straight bets and parlays. You must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. Again, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Mint Mobile. Whatever your plans are for this summer, beach trips, 3-day weekends, barbecues. Our guy Kevin out there has a smoker. Maybe you're smoking stuff all weekend. The last thing that you should be worried about is your wireless bill. And hey, maybe if you're able to cut down on that wireless bill, maybe you're able to spring for the shell on shrimp that I told Kevin to make. Smoked shrimp with the shell on. It's really good, folks. Anyways, Mint Mobile can help you get some shrimp. For a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for just $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over, can I afford this shrimp or not? You can afford the shrimp because of our friends over at Mint Mobile. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. New customer offer with 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month. Upfront payment of $45 required. Limited time new customer offer for only 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabits on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. Visit mintmobile.com/White Sox. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I really do appreciate everyone hanging out with us. I know that this is a really tough time to be a Chicago White Sox fan, and when you can find the hidden gems like a 4-game winning streak and your first road sweep yesterday since 2022 when Tony La Russa was the manager, got to take those small victories. It's been a nice 4 days for White Sox fans. So, let's clap it up. Clap it up for Dan Plezak's stinky ass shirt.
We're not winning. We're not winning 2-1 right now, dude. We're putting up runs. That's what's cool about it. And the right guys in the lineup are putting up runs. I know Michael A. Taylor's getting his little 2 cents in there, but it's Chase, it's Vargas, Luis Robert getting hot. We're going to trade them. It's good.
The Bronx Bombers should be ashamed of themselves. The 1927 Yankees couldn't deal with the White Sox from July 17th to July 21.
Scoff at that.
Yeah, come on. Hit that thumbs up button for stinky Dan Plezak. That man hasn't washed that shirt in 4 days. He said on MLB Network that he just has doused that in Axe body spray. And you know what's best for a stinky Dan Plezak? An 88-degree humid night in Tampa. I bet he smells great. But he doesn't stink. And I bet John Schriffen loves sitting next to him. We got to send him some Mando. Anyways, let's talk quickly about Sean Burke, and then we'll take the temperature of Chase Meidroth. Burke, since May, is just outside of the top 50 pitchers in WAR. This is before tonight's start. He's tied for 55th at .7 F-WAR. In his last 13 starts, he's surrendered 5+ earned runs in 3 games and 2 or fewer in 10 of those 13 games. So now in his last 14 starts, Sean Burke has allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 11 of those 14 games. Absolutely fantastic stuff from him. One thing, again, that sticks out is he's been somewhat platoon neutral. Lefty / 244, 346, and 427 against him. Righty / 248, 313, and 403 against him. Lefties have a higher slug, but they also have a lower average exit velocity against Burke. So while some do go out and he allows some homers off the changeup, I think against Toronto, he allowed 2 homers to lefties off changeups. He's mostly been able to retire lefties and righties similarly. And then in 13 starts, Burke has averaged a 20% whiff rate on 4 of his pitches, the four-seamer, slider, curve, and change. The change has gotten him into some trouble, but he really didn't throw it tonight. He was mainly focused on that four-seam fastball, that slider, and that curve. I really think that this kid is something special, and I think that this is a true draft win for the White Sox. This was a third-round pick for him. They picked him because of his frame. The numbers were good at Maryland, but again, like most college pitchers, there isn't a ton of sample size to rely on, and they trusted that the stuff was good enough and that he could actually start. And what I've just been impressed with him is, he walked some tightropes today. First inning was tightrope-ish. Fourth inning was tightrope-ish. But I think that he trusts 3 pitches the same amount. I think that he can really become a pitcher that, we see the issues with Ben Brown on the north side tonight. He's got 2 pitches. When you could trust any of your arsenal at any point and you could become like a 33% pitcher and just really change it up on any lefty or righty, it's something to watch out for. I'm really excited about Sean Burke. Jake Kaz says Burke is 2021 Dylan Cease. I think that guy finished second in Cy Young.
He had a good year.
Or was that 2022?
Oh, no, I think you're right. In 22.
Okay.
In 22.
So,
Cease was out of control that year.
It's not a terrible, let me refresh myself. 3 WAR, 3.91 ERA, 165 and 2/3 innings, which I don't think Burke is going to get to. But yeah, 12.3 K per 9. That's the biggest thing Cease is really, 200 strikeouts is something in a season. And he's done that. He will do that in 5 straight seasons? I don't know if Burke will reach 200. Where's he even at right now? Because he struck out 5 tonight?
Struck out 5 tonight.
So
89 pitches. 4 innings pitched, though.
85 strikeouts in 101 innings. I think the thing is with Cease had a little bit more of...
I think 180 would be a great number. If Sean Burke struck out 180 guys this year, I think you feel
There's
really,
no way he's
really...
getting to 180.
That's what I'm saying. That's like the watermark.
He's going to throw like 130 innings. So he's if he could, right now he's at a 7.5 K per 9 and a 4 walk per 9. If he can get an under 4 walk per 9 and get over a 7.5 K per 9, I'd be really, really interested. Anyways. Ben brings up awesome game. Felt bad for Teal. He got coasted on a couple of Ks. The White Sox were not happy with home plate umpire.
I wasn't
tonight.
happy.
Even Miguel Vargas in the 9th inning chatted him up after his strikeout. So, no, you're right about that, Ben. The White Sox were not happy with the home plate ump. And I think, Jake, that's an interesting comparison, Burke to 2021 Cease. But again, the thing that makes Burke more interesting than Cease is so tiny. It's similar to Grant Taylor. It's 100% effort on every single pitch. Where I think Burke, because he's 6'6", it's a little bit more natural to him. Fingers crossed. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just an assumption there. Let's get into some Chase Meidroth. Let's take the temperature of Chase Meidroth. We have to take the temperature with our friends over at 4 Seasons, the experts in heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. You know the phone number already. 866-4 Seasons. Let's take
Today?
Of Colson. Not Colson. Of Chase Meidroth. It sucks that there's 2 players with the same initial of CM. Just want to call him Chase Montgomery or Colson Meidroth. All right. Let's get into Chase. His first 42 games, he had an average of 300, an on-base percentage of 386, and a slugging percentage of 373. He had 21 walks to 20 strikeouts. That's when everybody was very, very excited about Chase Meidroth. I don't want to out this man. This is a very, 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 very good man, an honest man. You know him. You love him. It is your boy, Herb Lawrence. He mentioned that Meidroth is his favorite player in a long time, and that was back on June 10th, before Chase Meidroth really started to fall down a hill. I wonder how he feels about Chase at this point, but the point is, even your boy Herb was falling in love with the first 42 games of Chase Meidroth, and why wouldn't you? He was putting up an insane average, was fighting in every single at-bat, and if he wasn't getting a hit, he was walking more than he was striking out. The last 32 games, not including tonight, a 169 average, a 252 on base percentage, and a 194 slugging percentage. 11 walks to 21 strikeouts. So the strikeouts stay about the same. Well, the strikeout rate honestly increases because it's 32 games compared to 42 games. So the strikeout rate increases. The walk rate is lower, but still fine-ish. The strikeout rate has increased more than the walk rate has or decreased. Let's dive into those numbers, though. The first 42 games, what was going right for him? He did he did poor on low pitches, but everything in the 2/3 of the strike zone, the upper 2/3 of the strike zone, he was dominant on. And what helped him was he saw the lowest percentage of pitches in the lower third. So he wasn't seeing pitches middle away, down and in, middle down, down and away. 40% of his pitches were seen outside of the zone. I'll get to why that's important in a second. But he was just noticeably poor versus sliders, had a 20% whiff rate. He saw 100 sliders, 100-plus sinkers, and 100-plus four-seamers in that time. And his whiff rate against sinkers was sub-10. His whiff rate against four-seamers was sub-5, I think. So his slider whiff rate of being over 20 is significant. And then the only pitch that he saw 50-plus times that he whiffed more than 15% on was the slider. So positives there. His last 32 games where it got away from him, his average versus fastballs in the first 42 games, 348. The last 32 games, 219. His struggles versus sliders increased. It went from a 20% whiff rate to a 38.5% whiff rate. And he started struggling versus sinkers, a 160 average, and a 20% whiff rate, jumping from 8% to 20% versus sinkers. He saw the same percentage of pitches outside of the zone, but way more of them were down and away. When you looked at the first 42 games, the four outer corners were all similar-ish. Down and in was about 6%, but all the other ones were double digits. The last 32 games, it was near 20% for down and away. Just kind of telling you they're peppering him and just getting him to bite on sliders or sinkers down and away. So what you need to see him do and what will work for Chase Meidroth is being able to lay off those sliders, right? If he sees that anything is really below his waist, he's just got to say, I'm not swinging at that. He's got to own that upper 2/3 of the zone. And what did he do today? His 4 hits, all of them were above the belt. And that's what you love to see. 3 of them were on fastballs, and the other one was on a slider that was pretty in. But again, it was up and in. He saw that ball being hung, and he ripped it and almost hit it for a homer. So you love to see that aggressiveness on mistakes that I know that this thing's hung. I know that that's my money zone. Let's take a huge check, a huge hunk at that. So what you want to see from him is avoiding pitches on the outside of the zone. Obviously, first 42 games, pitches on the outside of the zone, a 27.9% whiff rate. The last 32 games on pitches outside of the zone, a 26.7% whiff rate. So the whiff rate really isn't what is killing him. It's just the swing percentage. The first 42 games, 61 swings on 34 pitches. The last 32 games, 75 swings on 289 pitches. So more swings on less pitches seen. And what that does is he's putting more balls in play. The more balls that he puts in plays that he's swinging it outside of the zone, they're going to be put in play weaker. First 42 games, 82.6% or 82.6 mile per hour average exit velocity. Last 32 games, 80.8. So a 2 mile per hour average exit velocity decrease. So pretty much summarizing it, taking the temp, red hot. He's awesome. He rules. He just needs to swing less and then make better contact when he is swinging, which is kind of duh.
But that's that's
why I love it, advanced stats, because you can really just boil it down to be like, he has to be better.
But
he has to be better. But it's really like, because he is such a specific player, he needs to own and do what he does best, which is just like hunting fastballs up in the zone.
It's really interesting that you're bringing that up, though, because he almost has like a reverse zone control. Like when a young player comes up, right? Like what are the old cliche narratives that you hear? Try and get them up and in, down and in. Don't let them get their hands extended, so try and bust them in. And with Chase, it isn't so much that as you can get him outside. You can get him out, down, and away, which is an interesting thing where I'm not saying if he could ever figure it out and put it all together, but his swing also lends itself to hitting the ball the other way. You're wondering if he's having a hard time picking up maybe the tracking of the spin on a slider, and maybe if he can actually put it together, maybe that could be a zone that he can start to control a little bit better as his career goes along. But it's such a fascinating thing that he had success early on because I think maybe they played into a young player's hands and gave him pitches that he can handle, and then they kind of adjusted, and now we're seeing him adjust back, and he's having success, so good for him.
I do think he probably got away from any fastball up. I'm going to kind of not attack and be as aggressive on. I think he was being a little less aggressive against four-seamers. But to your point, there was a quote in spring training from Marcus Timms about Chase where they wanted him to be more aggressive. And we were like, well, you're going to take away his walk rate, right? And it's like that's kind of his money thing is taking walks. But I think what they really mean is when you see your pitch, you can't wait for it in Major League Baseball. So I think what Chase, you see tonight, he saw his pitch, he's swinging. He saw a fastball middle up, and he's taking a hack at it. And I think that's what you want to see, is him being more aggressive on the pitches he should be swinging at and just completely taking, I don't know if I could say that word, but the PISS out of pitches low and away.
The PP? Huh? The PP.
Yes, the PP. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We got 25 likes. We wanted to get to 27 yesterday before the half-hour mark. So we're already at 25. So hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. We want to let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. If you are a newbie, their lovely, kind, knowledgeable bud tenders can take you through your first cannabis journey. If you're an expert and you know how you like to imbibe, head over to their beautiful site, sunnyside.shop, because we have some lovely promo codes. If you're a new customer, you get 50% off your first 3 online purchases with promo code HICHGO. Use that at qualify to checkout. Exclusions do apply. Existing users use promo code CHGO for 50% off. CHGO 50 for 50% off one Cresco Lab branded item. Our friends over at Sunnyside have you covered. They're Illinois' favorite dispensary. They have locations in River North, Wrigleyville, in the suburbs. It's not our state's capital, Champaign, but it's close. And there's South Beloit, which is a little bit further away from our state's capital. Again, go visit sunnyside.shop. Use code HICHGO when you sign up for 50% off your first 3 online purchases. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. New vehicles are in store at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep,
Ram.
You stealing that from the Blackhawks?
Yeah, why not?
I like it. I do like it. This is your chance to score a great deal at the Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Right now, lease the new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $399 a month for 27 months. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The expert team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. They prioritize affordability so you know you won't overpay for your next vehicle, and you know that because of Ray's Price Promise. The price you see is the price you get. If you hear a price in this ad read that you like, you'll get that at Ray's. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. Back here on the CHGO White Sox post-game show, presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to that CHGO Sports YouTube channel. If you have a comment, we're here to read them. Jake is excited. When Chase and Vargas are hitting, this lineup looks completely different. And you're right. I mean, that was the thing that was carrying them in that May run where had me thinking, oh, Sox could be 500, was that Chase and Vargas were just dominating and looking like true killers. I think it's very... I'll say it. You know what? It's not fair to expect.
We've won 4 in a row. Say whatever you want, man.
Who cares about fair expectations? Let me be a damn meatball. Vargas and Meidroth are going to carry this team to a very good August, September, and October. I think they'll be the best hitters on the team for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year. I do think that that's going to be the case. It seems like they're progression is not linear, and it seems like they're really hitting that point where they want to become consistent, right? They know what they need to do. Now it's just about doing it every single day. Colson is on this very long journey, and we'll get into that in a second. But I think that Meidroth and Vargas, with their experience, with their time put into Major League Baseball, they're more time compared to Colson. I think that they are going to be the best hitters for the rest of the season. I don't think that's too crazy. We got some starred comments. What you got here?
Oh, we got some questions coming in the chat here, heading towards the end. Let's save Ben's for a moment. I do appreciate your question there. Let's go to Woots here right now. We covered it a little bit yesterday, but maybe a little refresher, or we could recommend him into yesterday's episode.
Yeah, thank you, the Woots. What kind of player are we looking for when we trade Luis Robert Jr.? A little less about the actual trade package there, and I felt like I got a little bit too nerdy. What kind of player they're looking for? First of all, it's position player. They need one to at least two. I'd like two position players in this trade. Whether it's outfielder, I think that's probably preferred, or shortstop, the White Sox need to take shots at the highest potential. And usually those players play shortstop, and usually they play center field. So either a center fielder or a shortstop would be preferred. I'm not looking for a major league ready guy, though. I honestly, for Luis Robert Jr., I want somebody that has star-ish potential. And even if that's like a 45-plus future value bat, right? Like 50 would be an average two-WAR player. 54-plus is like guy that could be either a 55 future value or like a 30 future value, right? Like he's got a little bit more of like uncertainty.
A 19-year-old that weighs like 170 pounds right now, but has all these tools. And
I'd be interested in that. I think that'd be what the White Sox should be looking for, is somebody who's sub 20, right? At least to headline it. Cam Collier was in the Reds package. He's 22. He's a little bit closer to Major League Baseball. So I don't know if I would love a package like that. I'd be fine with it at the end of the day. Getting anything for Robert would be great. But also I could talk myself into picking up his option for $20 million. I don't think the Sox will do that, but I could really go either way. I can either be very glad that he's gone in August, or I could be talking myself into, let's pick up the option for $20 million and do this one more time. You're looking for an up-the-middle player that's young, I think, at least to headline this deal. There were two that we got that I put into a fake trade from the Mets that I thought were really interesting. A 17-year-old shortstop and like a sub-20-year-old pitcher or 20-year-old pitcher. Guys with really high end, but we'll see. 13 Doveman said, could we package prospects Brian Ramos and Jacob Gonzalez to bring in something?
Real quick, I love this. We're buying.
I
love it. I love it.
Really understand the question, to be honest. I think at least your question at least cements that Colson and Chase and Vargas are something. And I think what Ramos and Gonzalez give you are at least pretty decent backup plans on if they don't work out. If Colson or Vargas doesn't work out at third base, Ramos is a pretty decent backup plan, and the White Sox really haven't had depth. And if they could finagle him to be a left fielder next year when Benintendi's your full-time DH, I'd be interested in Ramos in left field. And Gonzalez plays good up-the-middle defense. So if he's your Jacob Amaya, but he's your Jacob Amaya or Vinny Capra off the bench, even though he's a first-rounder, at least you have a first-rounder that plays for the White Sox. So I don't think moving on from prospects is anything the White Sox are in a place to do. I mean, again, they're not moving on from Lenyn Sosa either in a trade stance because he has no value, but also DFAing him because they just don't have kind of the leverage, but also the audacity to get rid of anyone with a smidgen of talent, right? Because, I mean, you get rid of Lenyn Sosa and it's likely Jacob Amaya or Dominic Fletcher getting called up, who, can play decent defense, but can really just drown offensively. We got another one from Kobe, and thank you, Dove, man.
Oh yeah, let's get one in from Kobe here, and then we'll hit the Ben one. Ben Stenson has one as well.
Kobe saying, which player would you be most disappointed if we hold on to?
Hauser.
Yeah, no, Hauser. That's probably the easiest answer there. Jeff Passan and Kylie Daniel of ESPN ranked the top 50 trade candidates. Robert was 25, and then Hauser was 32nd. I could talk myself into Robert because we have the history, right? Like, I mean, he's got like a couple bobbleheads. I think a fair amount of the 50 people in here, at least 2 of you have to own a Robert jersey, right? Or a Robert jersey. We have the La Pantera chain out there. I wouldn't be disappointed if they kept Robert because I'm a delusional meatball and I still think that Cuban Mike Trout is in that dude. Hauser does nothing for this team past 2025. Hauser can throw innings for this team in August, September, but he is not going to be a part of the team in 2026 unless he signs an extension, which has been thrown out by one of our guests, BZ of Sox on Tap. But the thing about that is, if you like Hauser that much, trade him for something and then just outbid everybody in the free agent market because you're not spending on anyone but Adrian Hauser. And Hauser's not going to make more than like $6 million next year. So you could go give him a 2-year, $12 million deal with a club option for the second year. And if you don't like the first year, bye-bye, Adrian Hauser. And maybe, by the first year, you're able to deal him for something. And you've traded now Adrian Hauser twice, getting, 4 prospects for Adrian Hauser for a guy that you picked up after he was cut from AAA Round Rock. So I'd be most disappointed if they kept Hauser. The bullpen pieces, it's really tough to find like a perfect fit. I won't be upset if they don't trade Dan Altavilla. I won't be upset if they don't trade Steven Wilson. I won't be upset if they trade, Tyler Gilbert, Brandon Eisert. But I think not trading Hauser would be a mistake.
I would be wildly disappointed in Chris Getz if he doesn't trade Adrian Hauser before the trade deadline, because you have to think about it like this when you're trying to rebuild a franchise, and a franchise that, again, not to trigger anybody from last year, was at as low as it gets, hit rock bottom, right? You can't just go out and do it. Door number 1, sign a bunch of people. Door number 2, draft a bunch of superstars. Door number 3, sit and just watch them all grow. You have to do it in a lot of different kinds of ways. And this is one of those ways where great general managers, or good general managers even, will buy short term on these guys, hope that they get some production and results, and then flip them for more assets. Those assets do not have to become superstars. They can become pieces in future trades or become guys. This is all part of flipping over and building up the health of your farm system and your organizational depth as a whole. Adrian Hauser has to go. And if he doesn't go, I will be critical of Chris Getz.
But he's done it, though. I mean, he was able to get rid of Robbie Grossman.
Eric
Fetty. He was able to get rid of Eric Fetty.
Yep.
He was able to get rid of Tommy Pham. I understand that I didn't love the Kopech Fetty Pham return because I overvalued Kopech myself, and I felt like he needed a change of scenery. I'm trying not to do that with Luis Robert Jr., but again, I love the damn man. I mean, I could watch him hit 100-mile-per-hour liners all day.
I still dream of him hitting that ball against the A's in 2020.
Dude,
smoking
that ball. Did I ever
ball.
tell you that story?
No,
So
please.
we were watching it in the Score, like in their side studio, and I think it was Herb, me, and Chris Tannehill while Chris Tannehill was getting ready for his show. And the Cubs must have been on because I think they were also in the playoffs.
They're playing the Marlins
against the Marlins. Then that was probably the day that legend Sixto Sanchez shut them down in Wrigley.
Oh yeah, Sixto Sanchez. That's right.
But I had my headphones on, like the work headphones. And when Robert hit that ball, I literally just took them off my head and spiked them. Just not even thinking, just being like, hell yeah, let's go. Because that ball was hit into the third deck.
What dreams are made of, man.
Mount Davis.
Yes.
Gorgeous. One of the best highlights in White Sox history. It pains me to think about it. It's ingrained in my memory. The headphones were completely cracked and broken, and I'm very proud to break that pair of headphones.
Well, it's literally like if Billy Carlson or Caleb Bonnemer in the next if they do that 5 or 6 years from now, I mean, that's what that felt like, because Luis Robert obviously was, a signed guy and a prospect, a dude that you saw in spring training, came up, and that team was obviously on the precipice of a really, really fun season in 2021. I'll never forget that.
What is up with us doing 50-minute shows? Okay, I got to get to some Colson Montgomery stuff, but we have 2 more questions to answer. Let's go first to Ben, because he asked it a long time ago. Way too early 2026 record prediction, 1 tier above fun bad. I think right now they've been kind of playing like will they, won't they with bad and fun bad. So I think at least 2026 it will be more supplanted in fun bad. I think.
Could they get to 70 next year?
No.
Right? That's tough.
What's 162 minus 65?
Yeah, it's 70 and 92.
Is it? No.
Yeah.
No, 97. So whatever. So I think.
67 and 97? Is that what you're saying?
No, 60.
I'm getting it wrong.
65 and 97 is what I'm saying. I think being just not a 100-loss team is at least the way too early 2026 record prediction. Because, again, they could somehow have Luis Robert Jr. still on the team in 2026, and that would change my prediction. I do want to answer the Woots question, but let's just – I got to actually research it. The Dove Man saying, could Cannon or Burke be traded with Drew Thorpe and Kai Bush coming back next year? I wouldn't put my eggs into the Kai Bush basket. I don't trust him as a starter at all. I don't find him that interesting. And then with him coming off Tommy John, I wouldn't be looking for that. And then Cannon, I don't think Cannon has that much trade value. And what Cannon does provide is like the ability to throw 6 innings every time. So I don't see any of those guys being traded. Thorpe is also hit or miss if he'll actually be in the rotation or not. Just to go back to Doveman, Burke's in his first year of control. So they're not in any rush to trade Sean Burke. And I do think that this is, if they're going to have a guy that could be a starting pitcher 2 or a starting pitcher 3, I think it's Sean Burke. So I think they'd be really foolish to trade Burke right now because I think his value could grow immensely.
The hope would be Cannon would be the guy that you trade next year.
What was that?
The hope would be that Jonathan Cannon develops and grows into the guy that you trade next year for actually really legitimate pieces. And unfortunately, Jonathan Cannon doesn't fit your timeline, but he pitches himself into a situation where teams want to acquire him. I think that's sort of the dream scenario.
I wouldn't even set things too high for that, to be honest. Jonathan Cannon's a fine innings eater. You know, we're going to see Mike Clevenger again in August and September once they trade Hauser. What Cannon does is Cannon can eat 150 to 170 innings typically without getting injured. He gets injured this year, but I don't know. The Woots, to answer your question, when was the last time the White Sox had a 300 hitter that's played most of the season? At least 100 games. The last player to hit above 300, Jose Abreu. In 2022, TA before that in 2021, and then in 2019, TA did it again when he won the batting title at 335. Moncada was also at 315 in 2019, then Abreu and Avi Garcia. Avi Garcia at 136, 330. Jose Abreu in 2017, 304. Okay. Other pieces of news and notes real quick. Baseball America put out this article saying how many top 100 prospects will be traded at the deadline. Joey Christopoulos, when was the last time a top 10 prospect was traded at the deadline?
Oh, I think I might cheat on this one. I believe it's Eloy Jimenez.
It is Eloy Jimenez. 2017, Eloy Jimenez being acquired by the Chicago White Sox for Jose Quintana. So again, if you are looking for a top 100 prospect, getting a top 50 is nearly impossible and has been impossible since 2018. And again, we don't have a guy that's just performing at that level. And with Robert, unless they're eating all of the money and they're creating a bidding war between people, they won't be getting a player of that caliber. Davis Martin will be returning on Tuesday. Martin could be a name that I could see dealt. That's not a guy that you really need around. If Davis Martin could draw intrigue, I think they could trade him. I don't know if it will happen, but they could trade him. I also want to bring up some Colson Montgomery stuff. Colson, not including tonight, in his last 10 games, so after the first 3 against Colorado, 10 games, 32 plate appearances, a 179 average, 281 on-base percentage, and a 214 slugging percentage. Not good. However, some signs that you should worry too much. The pitch he's seen most, the 4-seam fastball, 25% whiff rate. Pitch he's seen second most, the slider, 63% whiff rate. I don't think his whiff rate on the slider will be that bad for the rest of the year, but that is obviously something he needs to work on. And is laying off his the slider. But I don't want to panic too much. Again, I don't understand why he's played 4 of his last 5 games at third base. But there was a great article by James Fegan over at SoxMachine.com. If you don't support SoxMachine.com, I think that it's very worth it. I think James Fegan does a phenomenal job, and I think it's very cool to support local journalism. So I'm glad that you can do that by supporting Sox Machine over at Patreon. But because James is in Pittsburgh, he was able to get quotes from Colson Montgomery about his swing, talking about how Arizona helped or didn't help. Colson said, we messed around with a lot of stuff, but then we kind of went back to where I felt most comfortable and athletic. I really wouldn't say that it was much of a difference when he talks about his mechanics post Arizona. But what he did say about what he learned in Arizona when it comes to his mechanics was, when I stay tall, my head moves a lot less, and I'm able to see the ball a lot better. My cue is just staying tall. When I stay tall, I leave those pitches that are down, back foot breaking balls. You kind of pick them up right away because you're standing tall. You see them really early, and you see them when they start down. It's also being committed. Each at bat, you have to be committed to the fastball. So I think that his mind frame is right, and I think that being 22 years old, it is a little bit of deep waters when you're just switching him up to play third base. I'm glad that he's been able to figure out what he needs to do to be a good hitter, and I wouldn't hit the panic button too soon over the first 14 games, because even though he goes 1 for 4 tonight, the single was nice because it leads to a 3-run homer, 2 ducks on the pond for Brooks to drive in, and then he also has that nice ability to beat out that fielder's choice to drive in another run. I thought it was a very good game from Colson. I'm intrigued by his first couple games, and I think he would just be much more valuable if he was allowed to play shortstop. Final thing, we got to get out of here. Rich Hill is going to be starting for the Royals apparently tomorrow, and I am so excited for this. This is my probably favorite non-White Sox story of 2025 so far. Rich Hill is 45. Rich Hill made his major league debut June 15th, 2005. It is July 21st, 2025, so nearly 20 years and a month after his major league debut, he will be making his major league return. Rich Hill faced Jamie Moyer. This is from Chris Kampka. Rich Hill faced Jamie Moyer. Moyer faced Steve Carlton. Carlton pitched in the same game as Warren Spahn. Spahn faced Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige was a teammate of Bill Gatewood, who was born in 1881. So that's real fun, how you can just connect people through time in just a short amount of time with long, lengthy careers.
The 7 degrees of Warren Spahn.
Yeah, right? You know, the 6 degrees of Rich Hill.
Yeah.
Going back to Rich Hill, too, made his debut on June 15th, 2005. In his one inning that he pitched, he faced Luis Castillo, Miguel Cabrera, Carlos Delgado, Marlins legend, Mike Lowell, Paul LaDuca, and Juan Encarnacion. Pretty nasty lineup there.
Hell yeah!
And then final thing, do you have the history bump for Hawk?
Oh, I sure do.
The White Sox have won 4 games post All-Star break. They have won all of those games by 5 runs or more per CHSN's broadcast. They are the first team in Major League history to win their first 4 games by 5 or more runs out of the All-Star break.
History!
Hell yeah. Let's go. We are closing in on the, 11th anniversary? What do we figure this out? 16th anniversary of Mark Burley?
16th, yeah, correct, 2009.
16th anniversary
end of this
Mark
week.
Burley.
Or no, it's tomorrow.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh. We have a show on Wednesday. So not only will we celebrate the 16th anniversary of Mark Burley's perfect game, we'll hopefully be talking about a 6-game winning streak from your Chicago White Sox and one stinky-ass polo from our guy, Dan Plesac. Thank you to Joey Christopoulos for producing the show. I'm Sean Anderson. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. This show has been presented by Bet365. Go bye. I love you.
We all silly like the mayor.